How to Sell Anything to Anybody. Part 1. Introduction. You have get this book in your hands because you think it can be help you get more out of your work. More money and more personal satisfaction. This probably the first book about selling that you have been read. Since this you have you seen and read a lot of the other books that promise to give you the secrets, the magic, the inspiration. You probably already know a lot about how to help yourself to looking in that mirror every morning and repeating certain paragraphs to yourself. By now, you know the mysteries of PMLA and SPD and some other magical power experience about attitude builders. You know a lot about what you should think and what you shouldn't. I think positive and negative. And maybe you are a little confused by this time for all the constantly upsets the books have offered. I don't want to make anything away from the promoters, the experts, and other well-meaning people who grant out those books. This book to make a living too. But let's face it, what you know to want and how to sell real products and service now. And most of those authors never sold very much in their lives, experts their books. They may be professional writers or professional sales training experts. Some of them may have spent a few weeks or months selling something until they figure out of something at which they are better. And maybe all of them made a good living selling on multi-million-dollar real estate development every 2 years, which is nothing to do the kind of selling you do when to do better. This is the point. They just aren't of our kind and salesmen of our selling every day for living. They don't do this because have to. When you have read their books, they sound fine and they probably give a little help, maybe even youth of your own book that what cost you. But when you think about those books, you realize pretty soon that these writers, even the best of them, just are not to our kind of salesman. But I am. I sold cars and trucks, now owns. I retail, no flat deals, just new cars and trucks on at a time. Face to face, belly to belly, to the some kind of people you sell to every day. Maybe you sell cars or sheets or house or appetites or porcelain or something else. Day in the day or out something that you have been sell in the lot of make out. And when you read those books by the experts, you probably have the some ground reduction I do. There's something missing. What is missing? Your intuition tells the spouse hand of the job that involved with our problems, our people, our world. Those guys just don't feel like they have been out in their dresses every day in the way you have be if you were going to eat tomorrow. That's why my books is different. That's why the book is going to work for you is was those others never died. Because I was out there every day the way you are. I did what you do. I feel what you I wanted that what you want and I got it. Other people have been called the world's greatest salesmen, but they are not our kind of salesman. Among of the kind of salesman, I am the world's greatest. You have done to take my our that climb. You have went to check my out. Take a look. The world's foremost authority, the genius book of the rates to prove I am not. ATANA all talk about no action like others, so that why they are number one with their sales promised as the records. My climb to authorate to buy it to the help top films, decorate and tune it, later available upon request. Look at the world's greatest salesman. You have filled out to me zones here the or 6 series about the Snatter, Forbes, Trend House and Women's Day of the hundreds of the other magazines and newspaper you have probably seen on more or another national television show in the recent years. And they always introduced to me as the world's greatest salesman as I said a genius book of the records. How I do after I started selling in 1963. In my first year, I sold only 267 cars only. Even those days, the world would be more than just I living. In the first years, I was maybe top of the guy, the dealership. In 1966, my fourth year, I sold 614 cars and trucks retail. This is the year I became member on our retail car and truck salesman in the world. And every year since, I was a number of the retail car and truck salesmen. Interesting my business better than 10% of a year and some years at the highest 20%. Even when we had to reasons, layoffs and long strikes, it is in fact the worse the economy got as the salesman I work and the better I did. I have stayed on the top even when auto dealers in the Detroit area can work from 6 days to 5. In 1976, which was my biggest year, I had goals earning from the commissions in exits of 3,100 not to may beat me. Expect maybe those guys they spend their years paying of the some cabinet minister of the some country buying their airplanes of milestones, but they're not kind of selling. And you are talking about what we are talking about is profession that work use skills and to and experience and practice. It begins as lots of hundreds of functions, no matter how well we do when do is right. It begins as more financial and additional purpose than other kind of the work in the world. I did what I do because I live the mode of the excellence and the satisfaction of learning again and again. Already by be doing pretty well, you may have a home, a vacation place, a boat, and a couple of cars. But if you have at the rate of this far, you think there are more to be had in there than that. And you are right. There is a more of tell the kinds of pride and satisfaction every great salesman should not feel. In fact, the better you are, the more you should win. If you think if you have your everything that you are not doing as well as you could, so keep on reading because I have a total system for selling that a lot like farming and a country where things grow all of the time. With my system, you do a lot of things are like planting seeds. You do them all that time, and then you begin to harvest all the time. And every time you have harvest a cell, you plant something else. You plant and plant, harvest in the harvest all the time through early session. There's nothing like it. They granted it. But if you think that there is nothing you can do to solve and win because you are a loser, let me tell you that I was a bigger loser than you have ever been. For the first 35 years of my life, I was the world's biggest loser. I get trained out of high school and I got trained out about 40 different jobs. And I listed only 97 days in US Army. I could not even make it as a clerk. I tried towards the first time I wanted up and nothing but a night. A tour at the javelin dedication. The second time the sun is against the where it is a long advance. And when I finally get into the business where I was making a small but Tracy income, the first time I tried to explain I wanted calm, facing vacancy, wanting more money than I ever been seen because I relieve somebody who have been no reason to tell the more truth. How I get from there to here is where this book is about. This book is not being written by a spectre with a fancy title and about the Lord of Degrees. This is begin writing a working salesman who was the front lines every day selling. Even when I travel around of the country giving tales or other salesmen, I am selling because salesmen have to be sold that the people who show them how to know how to do because they did it. The history of how I got to be the world's greatest salesman gives me the economy's amount of pride. But I get even more from the letters I receive from working salesmen who made me hear the tale about them written by telling me how I have changed their lives by making them better, happier, and more purposeful and salesmen. Winning boldness victorious. Remember that for the real salesman, there is nothing better than selling. It's a like Holmes runs from a hunter, touchdowns by running a bag, victorious for a general. But when a salesman sells, they are no longer both the buyers and the selling win. It likes a good sell. The communication that leads to a sell like a game the where, but the where nobody builds, nobody lives, everyone wins. When then into that. But the process that leads to that victory of should that still long before every see your prospect for the first time and goes it along after the customer sees the order, pays and leaves and the when the parties. In fact, you think at a sell ends when I like this in because it's a customers throughout you are going and the loss more sales than even determined of. But if they understand how selling can be continuous process and never ends, that's you are going to make it to be big time. Also my selling system got into high gear. I never had to look up for customer among the people who walk into the front of the door of the showroom. I did not take as all my customers in those days were people who asked for name, all of them, all the every 10 sales I made. Report see 6 them in the where people I sold this list all before. And we are talking about automobiles people buy them about every year for years or even lost or among the middle and working class people were most of my sales. If you are selling clothes or brews of them that people buy a lot more often, getting them back again and again even more important. But it is the hundred of the do with girls, so if you can show you are the best coming back by the girls from me you knows this getting in the main even more sales if you are selling those other kinds of products and service where success depends even more or beginning them back again. I generate you that my system all work you understand it mind flow it. I looked at selling solutions and the customer in different ways I once did. That means I did have since my attitude about the Lord spheres of my professions. I know there's a lot of people work about the importance of seniors and your attitude toward something they help put capital letters on that everything will be just dirty for you. Most of those people are sins, but they are not out selling foods to feast after day. Let's face it, we're living in that real world, and it is a very true world. Whenever you are selling those, it probably somebody else out there selling on exactly like it. Not probably. It's a fact. It's a very competitive world, and aside from the thousands of crazy salesmen who are trying to sell exactly the same car to exactly same customer as I was. There are hundreds of thousands of the others, some people trying to take sales more from them, everything from the house and something poles and the motorboats and action trips, funerals and serving customer accounts. And when you will finally get the customer to come in, he is the looking isolate in some way, and not because he is the person, but because he has come to believe that you are. It's a very true. Professions have been chosen, but if you solve the deal of the its professions with the rules and standards, and principles, it can be made to play in the financial and emotional satisfaction. The first thing you did better know, if you want to know it already, if that is not always a nice world competition as through game, but everybody compares everybody else is everything you need to win. I am not a philosopher, but I know the almost from the day I was born, and it's one of the few things I learned before at age of 35 that turned me out useful to me. What I am trying to say, the so-called experts are putting ideas your way to will easier to help get rid of the more receipts before you can help make more money and have more satisfaction from selling. It is a very true comprehensive world, but when I say that, I did not mean you that are going to have the curve still save the stake with and see. What I do mean, you will see how you can sense people to selling them from the right way. My wife and work out their money and their friendship. In fact, if I do not get both their money and their friendship, you are not getting to be business very long. Don't get me wrong when I talk about friendship. I am not talking about goody things like the neighborhood. How you get along with your neighbor is strictly your business. But when you get to be chapter on the law of 250, you will understand exactly what I mean by friendship. Where I'm going to deal the what of the kinds attitudes customers have, the clear salesman and importance of the telling truth about values and Christian kinds of the lies, and you don't understand the women you are dying to with what really went to her, then you cannot make in the long run. I assure you of that. But even before we get to the business of your customer attitudes, we are going to have the deal with your own. Remember that I was total loser of 35 years. I wish I am going to describe with your deal so you will start to feel sorry for me. Like I feel sorry for myself, but I tell the right now that feeling sorry for yourself as a trip. It generates that you will keep on losing. It kills everything that it takes in the winner to be boss of the life and selling. I will show you that too. And I'll show you how I went from beginning a loser to being big winner. The world's greatest salesman, like it says in the book, I did not buy myself. I will tell you, show you how I did it, and how to be able to see what you see doing in the own life. That's be differencing and you know that big turn it about to make your big winner. I mean that you will have to do yourself and yourself nobody can do it from you. But I believe that I can show you what I think with my life and why I am did it. So you can do yourself and yourself life and learn turn disadvantage into advantage and liabilities into assets and the failures is into success that defeats into victorious. Also you have come to that point you get a set of attitudes built into your head. I know the most of those so-called experts tell you do the other way around. That is the way give you the world's attitude that you are authored to have. And they tell to develop them, they tell to make yourself believe them by repeating them every morning when you get up by saying them to yourself in their mirror, some such thing as this. The way to winning attitudes. But if you do that workout without knowing why or how it's not getting to be worth any more than spending in the rabbit or flour of the raving lucky prices. The only way to have the right attitudes is to know what to wrong on and you how you get them and why you keep them and how I am going to lead you throughout the history of my attitudes. The wrong ons and then the great sins in my life that lead to me the right ons. Don't get the idea that I am referring to some magical moment when a figure from behind towards me. The sons of my life to come a lot different and more unstable reasons. You will discover. I am not saying that what I went through was easily, but I did it. And if you could do if I coming from where I come from, anybody who is strike and tried to being a loser can do it. I said that too, but if you have built your own version of or the be right attitudes the first step, then you will be understand the other rules and parts of my system and why they work if you work them properly and constantly. The laws of 250 will make it clear why you will be when to be use its system all of the time. When we get to be used of the time, you will be understand that not just the observes facts about the value, the time of thoughts wasting, but it's also be important to bring realistic about yourself and what one can do and how to be good to yourself in the long and short run. When we get certain aspects of what I did, well, of course, we will be talking about how I sold cars to people, and I will relate what I do, what salespeople in other fields do. A lot of things observed, and you can figure out for yourself when I say it is essential to get a customer to take a description right. You know, if you're selling house, that's the improvement. It's getting to people into the model, or putting the salad of the customer, or even cooking them a meal and you are selling them in the new kitchen. The old time door to door, the vacuum cleaner salesman used to know dust and died on the floor and then run a vacuum to show how well it worked. The Calf aquarium salesman cooks a model when it shows in his line. A matrix salesman has get the customer it down. Those obviously your improvement, those execution right, you knew. Whatever I did to say, that's what to do with the selling curves, and they're almost always a increment for selling anything else. Maybe it's like influence salesman it can get to go on feel like to Tom Sawyer update. But it's a get you to tell about your wife and children, and maybe you get to take about their pictures and laugh them all the table while the taking. That can be all level goods a reminder that you are not getting be around favor. This is a maybe you should needs the remind you of. That's kind of determination, right? From here on out, I'm going to tell you step by step through my discover of the way since you're from loser to winner. I'll show you how I built the additives from sheer winner and how those additives and lead to me the development of my system. And reminder this, those additives and that system have been made me the world's greatest salesman.